I had been pole dancing like 4 years before I started Black Girls Pole. So yes, there was that intense like
And
training
she
that
was
I was
winning,
doing.
so we're clear. She wasn't just going to compete. She came in and the girls were packing their heels. So we're
I
clear.
was definitely like
She
in
was that
training
girl.
mode, training like 4 or 5 days a week before I even started teaching. So there's that because I think that a lot of times this generation, people see Instagram and they're like, well, if they're doing it and they've only been doing blah 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 for 3 months, then I should be able to start my business and do this. And I think I'm not mad, but I'm like sad because it's like, what happened to people just doing hard work behind closed doors and then just pop out and show people?
What's up, and welcome to the Femme Fit Chicks Podcast. We're your hosts, Aurelia Michael Holmgren and Britt Inez. Here we talk all things health, wealth, womanhood, and of course, ownership. So sit back or stand up straight on that treadmill and enjoy today's episode. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Femme Fit Chick Podcast. It's your girl, Aurelia Michael Holmgren, one half of your favorite Femme Fit Chicks. And y'all, when you're in for a treat, I'm in for a treat as well. I have one of the most incredible women that has been a part of my life. We've been going in and out of each other's lives for 15 years. We've been on different coasts. We've been in many programs together. She is literally one of my favorite humans, one of those people that you feel like through social media you talk to all the time, so you forget. Let me check in on my strong friends for real. But we have done, I took some notes. I had to go through the receipts. We have done 3 dance career related intensive programs together. We did ME, Foglia, and Elite Team. Dalijah was also, oh, her name is Dalijah Amelia. Look at me. Okay, we're off the cuff here. Dalijah is also my nutritionist. I found an email where she was doing my nutrition. Get to it. We are now sorority sisters. I have been watching her create an international, sensational
Hey.
pole dancing company. Y'all, she has a whole husband and 2 kids the internet did not know about, and I live for it. And just seeing her slay in everything she does, I am so honored. Please give a round of applause for listening or watching to my girl, Dalijah Amelia. Woo!
Hello, what's up? That was an introduction.
Okay, I took us through history. Please introduce yourself. You know, I'm all about who you are more than what you do. But don't this year, my word of the year is flexibility. And it's not just about stretching, but ability to flex on these
Okay.
hoes and let them know who you are, what you do, who you serve, and all the things. So go ahead and let them know who you are, what you do, who you are, how your heart, what 2025 giving you, all the things.
Oh man. Okay. Well, first of all, hello. Hi, Aurelia. It's so good to see you. It has been a very long time. Like we have known each other a very long time. I totally forgot about Elite Team.
Yeah, I
I
pulled up in my
told
emails. I had to do some deep digging.
Totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about the nutritionist thing because that was a big part of life getting through dance world and all of that.
Yeah.
And then of course me and Dana. Wow, it's been some years. But yeah, I'm Dalijah. Hello everybody. Dalijah Amelia Francois. Let's see. Oh man, I
Where you
own
from?
Black I'm originally from Ohio, 330, and I am a Buckeye. Moved to New York City 2007 to dance, live my life dancing,
Didn't we all?
ran into all of these wonderful people who are still like a lot of them parts in my life. So it's really cool to see us literally like 15, 20 years later. Um yeah, and then started dancing, was like, I think I want to do more, and kind of fell into taking a pole dancing class. And from there, I fell totally in love with pole dancing. And I started my own company called Black Girls Pole in 2014. That really kind of was my baby before I had babies. And Black Girls Pole has taken me all over the world. And it was really just to a way to celebrate and embrace and give a platform for Black women who are in the pole dancing industry. And also just to introduce new faces to how transformative pole dancing was. So that's really been my kind of life the last 15, 16 years, is pole dancing. And then I am a wife, I'm
Yeah,
a
she is.
mom. I got 2 kids now, y'all.
Yeah, she does.
I own a studio in Brooklyn called Sada, and right now I'm really on my postpartum journey, figuring out next steps. Lot of changes coming up, so we will definitely dive into that. But yeah, that's me. That's me.
Oh my
I'm a
gosh.
Libra. I'm an only
Yes, she is.
child.
Only child nation. We in here comparing wallpapers. Yeah. I was like, wait, I used to have that. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, not this one. She's like, money on this one. I'm like, so am I.
Yeah.
This has been my girl. So yeah, we go way back '09, like '08, '09, because I also moved to New York in '08 for the pursuit of dance. And man, I remember me and Michelle, like thick as thieves, just
Yes.
trying to navigate like, do we fit? Are we supposed to fit into this world? And I will say you, and we talked about that before we started, you trailblaze things I didn't even realize until I hit you up. I was like, you were one of the first ones to step away, quote, from the commercial world and be like, ah, Rosa Parks, like, and you were one of the first too at that time. For anybody that was, in the you watched videos, commercials, anything, it was all about the long, straight, big hair, and we were over here perming, relaxing, and weaving and stitching and what we could do, hot comb. And you were one of the first girlies to cut her hair. And y'all, when I say sexy, you want to put a picture next to the definition of sexy? She destroy and I didn't realize at the time, like, I was so hung up on, the sunk cost ratio. I've been doing this for so long because I've been doing it so long, and it's harder to move away. And just watching you and how not only did you pivot, but, like, really put God on a whole other platform is what unfortunately many people end up doing, which is just dancing behind somebody's butt, which is fine. But I think we all have more gifts. And you were one of the first people to be like, there's another layer. I'm not just going to go with the first layer that I see. What was that like? Because we were all still doing it. And you were like, nah. What did that really feel like if you can remember back then to kind of go against the grain?
I don't even think that I knew that I was doing it until looking back years later, that I was doing it. Even from walking into a hair salon with long hair. Was my hair natural then? I think it was natural. Long natural hair. It was about like going down my back, and I was like, "You know what? Just shave all of this off because I just can't." And they were like, "I'm sorry, what?" And I was like, "Just shave it off." And it was scary, but it was also just like I needed that freedom to not hide behind my hair. I wanted people when they saw me move and when they saw me enter into a room, they saw my face, they saw who I was, they just saw me show up. And that I think was kind of that start of like finding my power. Because even with pole dancing, people use their hair a lot, and my power was, how can I show you how amazing I am without using my hair? So yeah, so that was one part of it. And then it just happened. It was clear as day, um that I was supposed to walk away from the commercial dance world, because the day after I finished the program Motivating Excellence,
Mm,
with Rhapsody, the day after, I have never heard a voice more loud than God being like, "Okay, go, go." And I was like,
yeah.
"I'm sorry, wait, what? What do you mean, like, just go? Like, I'm
I just
no,
finished. It was
I just
yesterday.
finished. Like, this was amazing. I'm feeling great. That I could probably just keep working through this." And God was like, "Nah, like, just trust it." And so I was like, "Okay." I think I'm not gonna dance anymore, guys. I don't know what that looks like, but it's been fun. If I see you at Broadway Dance Center, I probably won't see you at Broadway Dance Center. I'm
Mhm.
probably never going on auditions again, but, yeah, sure, cool. Okay, bye. And then I was just left with not knowing, what to do, but it was that trust of like, "Okay, God, okay, 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 okay." And then I started work studying at, Body and Pole, which is like a huge pole dancing studio in New York City, and it was like 3 floors, all the best pole dancers in the world are from there, they train there, and I was a work study there, and this doesn't ever happen, but at like about 4 months into me doing work study, I started teaching pole there, and then I just progressed, like no other. That was 2013. By 2014, I had met, my now husband, and he was the first person that I told. I was like, "Yo, I think I'm supposed to be doing something bigger. I think I'm supposed to be telling more Black women and giving more Black women a space to feel like they can just do this and pole." And so I created Black Girls Pole, not knowing what it would lead to. I when I created it, I was in the middle of like doing competitions, and I was doing a lot of pole dancing competitions. I was actually winning, and then I was traveling. The first time I actually got to travel out of the country was for pole, and I went to Switzerland for a whole month, to just travel around the country teaching pole dancing. And I was like, wow, I did this without having to be behind an artist. I did this without having to audition. I just did it
Yeah.
because I showed up authentically as myself. And so, yeah, I just kept going from there. I just kept trusting. And here we are 10 years later.
Ah, there's so many nuggets in what you said because especially for entrepreneurs. So our podcast used to be Femme Fit Entrepreneurs Podcast, but we wanted to everybody wants to own a business. But also, if you have learned anything within these last weeks, this 2025, ownership is so important because it is so easy to lose anything that does not already belong to you. But something that you said that I think people miss in when they're creating entrepreneurship is credentials. So you didn't just wake up, take one pole dancing class and say, let's start the business. You took the classes. First of all, you served, right? You were at front desk. You served before you thought about being served. You served. Then you started learning. Then you realize genetically, the way you trained all these years was meant for this. Because if any of y'all out there have pole dance, Dalijah literally had to get drunk to get me to be in that class. Okay, whatever they pouring in them drinks they was giving. Um, I can't even
Hard.
pony prance. I can't get both feet off the ground. So what it also showed me too, and I'm sure so many women around the world are seeing this now also, like strength does not look one way. Because ahead and Google her, baby. And y'all see some of the things she does and the beautiful body she's in. People make these assumptions that when they see certain body types, that equates to strength. And I learned that in bodybuilding because when I looked the most lean is when I was at my weakest. I could
Mm.
barely lift anything. So there's really misconception. And so when I saw you doing your thing, like as it was growing and then seeing it trickle and just seeing impact, right? I think too that's important. Is there a need? I think it's easy to find out if there's a need. You put it out there. Is anybody responding? Obviously, you put it out there in Switzerland, you traveled, there was a response. Now it's like, how can I serve more people? Because
Yes.
you could just stay in New York, you could just in house, but there's people all around the world now craving what you are offering. And at the end of the day, people aren't buying into your business, they're buying into you.
That was a hard thing to learn.
You're that
Also,
girl.
also running a business, y'all, I had no idea. I had like no idea what I was doing. Me and Black Girls Pole were growing together because I didn't know what an LLC was. I didn't know you needed a separate bank account. I didn't know how to map out, you know, everything. I didn't know what an ROI was. I didn't know any of this stuff, and I just just learned along the way. So that's why I really am like Black Girls Pole was definitely my first baby. And yes, I it it taught me that it taught me that to stay, if you're called to do something, to not answer the call is just being selfish and being scared. Um, and even if you answer the call and you're scared while you're doing it, I was terrified probably the first 5 years of
Yeah.
running this business, just because I felt so like I didn't know what I was doing.
Mhm.
And I think that people saw that growth in me. I think people saw when I was having selfish moments, when I would have fits because I was like, "Well, I don't want it to be like this. I want it to be like that." And I'm glad that I had people around me being like, "But it's not about you. This is bigger than you." And I think that is
Preach.
why I think that's why Black Girls Pole was able to grow as big as it did because it really I had to remove myself and know that this thing that I'm offering is bigger than me, and it's a way for women to connect and to feel safe and to feel seen and to be able to, travel because by also I forgot to say that I had been pole dancing like 4 years before I started Black Girls Pole. So
Mhm.
yes, there was that intense like
And
training
she
that
was
I was
winning,
doing.
so we're clear. She wasn't just going to compete. She came in and the girls were packing their heels, so we're
I
clear.
was definitely, like,
She
in
was like,
training
"Girl."
mode, training, like, 4 or 5 days a week before I even started teaching. So there's that, because I think that a lot of times this generation, people see Instagram and they're like, "Well, if they're doing it and they've only been doing blah, blah, blah for 3 months, then I should be able to start my business and do this." And I think I'm not mad, but I'm, like, sad because it's like, what happened to people just doing hard work behind closed doors and then just pop out and show people, right? Um, but yeah, so I forgot the question.
It's okay because what you just said brought me to the next thing, is doing things behind closed doors. Y'all, let me tell y'all what Dalijah did. Dalijah had a whole man, okay? A whole man, a wonderful man that I happen to know. Thank goodness I knew because if we weren't close, I would not have known. And popped out on us on the wedding, y'all, with a whole article. Listen, are y'all hearing me? Y'all know I mean, I hold water for other people, but I be spilling my own tea. I be spilling. Go ahead and cop y'all's. I'm always here for the tea. Femme Fit Chicks product. Look, shameless
I love
plug.
that. I
Thank
love
you.
that.
Go ahead and place your orders. Um, I'm spilling my tea. So the fact that I would go to her page every now and again, I'm like, let me just text, make sure they're good because I don't see nothing on here. And she's like, no, girl, we're great. And that's part of why they are great because they kept their business to themselves. And those, if you know, you know. So I would just want you to share a bit about what was that like? Because also, Delilah's a community builder. Like the Instagram, how she built it. Like it's not just like if you build it, will come. It's like, well, what do you do once they're all there? Like the content sharing isn't just like fluff. Nobody's talking about this, those kind of pointers. Like she's really showing her process. And so she has built such a big community. But I would love for you to just share like what were your thoughts behind was it just one day y'all together and you're like, I don't think we should post each other. Like what would and then how did the article happen? I will link the article in the description down below so that y'all can check it out.
Uh,
I'm
this is
cheesing
funny.
because I'm like, I could never. I need to know. Like it's
So
inspiring.
he's very, very private. He's very private. I'm like,
Oh, tell them what he
whatever.
does. I don't know.
He's a pastor. So he pastors a church here in New Jersey called Fountain Baptist Church. And he's private, and
Mhm.
I think he it took so long for me to respect that because what you see on Instagram, you see people in love, and I want to be like, we should be able to show people this, and we should be able to do this, and things like that. And and it just wasn't really his MO. It's still not his thing. Because the few times that we did, there's crazy people out there in the world, and we've encountered crazy. And I was like, okay, maybe we don't because crazy sees you doing well and
And
it
these crazy
tries.
folks have Bibles in their hand, just so we're
Oh,
clear. Don't think somebody just running down the street.
right. And so it was like, okay, let's like maybe not Dalijah because respect this and respect our process together. And I think that, just being behind closed doors is something sacred. So it's like not the whole world doesn't have to know. And now I'm starting to have more respect and more understanding of that everything doesn't just have to be public. So we were engaged for a long time before we got married. And I kept being like, let's just pop out and be like, "Hey, oh yeah, by the way, we got married yesterday." And so he was like, "Yeah," because we took engagement photos, we did everything, all of the things. And then literally 2 days later, I was like, "Oh, by the way, I did a thing this weekend."
While you guys were out and about at the beach.
I did a
I got
thing
a
this
whole
weekend.
husband, whole
And
article on it.
yeah, and we were in the New York Times, and it's funny how that happened. Uh, Someone that actually is a pole dancer, we follow each other, and I noticed that she like worked for the Times, and I just hit her up, and I was like, "Hey, I have like an interesting kind of story. I don't know." And she was like, "Oh my God, absolutely, yes." And then like probably like 4 days
Yes,
later, we were being interviewed. So it
yes.
was cool to watch that, and then so it was cool to just like get married and then just be like, here's all this stuff that we have. This is the content, all the things. And then it was cool to have the article come out. And then we went into like hiding, and then I literally
And
popped
then
out.
be photos.
I popped out later, and then I was like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant.
Those photos sent me. Y'all, please go to our social. Those photos, I was like, Beyonce ain't got nothing on y'all NDAs, okay? She needs to take lessons from y'all. That's why I slipped. She need to take lessons from y'all. But you made a good point. Would a lot of people be doing these things called relationships if they couldn't post about it?
Right,
Would you really want to be with this person if you weren't
right,
posting? Would you really want to be engaged to this person? Would you really want to be married if no one knew about it?
right, right. And that's the crazy part is like he is like such the homie. Like he's really like my bestie. And we be doing all the things. We like go to the arcade, we go have like game nights. We do so many things that it's just like it's ours. And I
Yeah,
think that that's like what's kind of sacred and great. So, yeah. He's the homie though.
absolutely.
He's the homie. He's like my bestie. And then we'll talk about it, but also like stepping into this role of like a pastor's wife and the first lady and all of that has been interesting.
Well, let's not waste any time. Let's step into it. What is that like? And you made a point about like obviously the privacy because people have perceptions. That was one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on here too, is because people have a perception about pole dancing. Those that have not done their research, those that have never taken a class, those who like to make an assumption. I'm sure people have done that
Of
when
course.
looking at you, but of course. So what is that like being the first lady, but also making sure you're still being true to who you are, who he fell in love with?
Yeah, it's I think it's the space that we're in because the church that we're in is so just genuinely nice people. So much so that they've been like, "When are you bringing pole dancing to the church?" And I'm like, "I'm not."
Don't let the
You
pole
know,
come down in the middle
right.
of the service.
And they've asked like, a few have been like, "We should have classes." And I'm like, ugh, but I think I'm grateful mostly. It's like I think it's like God knew what God was doing when they decided to drop us into that space.
Oh, that's
Because I don't
beautiful.
I don't know if another space would have embraced us the way that they have. So yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey and having the freedom to kind of do what I want in the space. I think a lot of times when people think of like the pastor's wife or quote the first lady and
Mhm.
all of that, they think of, she's sitting on the second row and she has this big hat on and like all of these like perceptions that
Yeah,
people think of when that happens. And she's doing like women's brunches and lunches and teas and things. And I'm like, no, we're gonna start a fitness ministry.
come on.
We're doing a 5K.
Come
I
on.
have them all right now doing a 21-day plant-based.
I know that's right.
And I'm just like, because to me, my passion is not just it's not just like women, but it's the health of Black people. And and I think that gets overlooked a lot of times in church. So I've really gotten a chance to kind of show up as my authentic self and kind of push this, like, let's all get healthy together, because
Yeah.
this body that God gave us is God wants us to be healthy. So let's push this and really, see where we can go with it. And so that's kind of been my journey with it. I think also what helps is that the pastor before we got there, he wasn't married and didn't have any kids. So here I come, pregnant
Right.
with a 4-year-old. And I think the church has also just been like, oh my God, a family. Like,
Yeah.
so that's been helpful too. So yeah.
That is amazing. Wait, I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you a question about oh, why did it just leave me? You were and I'm just like this. I'm all the way locked in. Um, well, I think what I really like about what you're saying is that when you think also about church, there's a lot, people feel a certain way about certain things in church, all the things. So I feel like you're also opening up the eye of the congregation in a new way, right? Because yeah, we can sit and we can have these tea, we can have these brunches, but
Right.
then are you going to work out after? Are you working
Right.
off that brunch? Are you,
Yeah.
doing the things you need to do? So I think that's a beautiful look. That's an art of
Thank
itself, of
you.
like how you're shifting the narrative. And what you said earlier is like, I just hit up my friend and asked. Sometimes it's just, or it wasn't even your friend, somebody you knew through socials. Sometimes we see these things like, oh, they must have had, like, the people must have come to them, and we get in our own way. Just ask
Yes.
the question.
Just ask, like, hey girl, I see you work for New York Times. Yeah.
Was okay. I remember the
Yeah.
question now. Boom, boom. I'm on it. What my question is: do people that are not of color still go to Black Girls Poll?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's more of like an ally support kind
Yeah.
of thing, because the space, of course, is framed out for Black women. And that's like always going to be the first priority. But we've had people come to retreats, support it, come to shows, all of that. So really what BGP has turned into is kind of just international retreats and shows, kind of like around the world. So we've done retreats like in Costa Rica, South Africa, Bermuda, London, all of that, and just bringing women together in those spaces, because I think a lot of times women might be afraid to travel by themselves, but if they know that there's a group of other women
Mm,
that are like-minded, they can do this traveling. So that's really been what it's been about. And then the shows that we have in like various different cities is where we get the most support and the most allyship and the most people turning up and showing up. But it always is carved out for Black women. So yeah.
I asked that because I think I know, and I still am in this process of figuring this out. When I created Voice on Demand, its original intent still is to support BIPOC artists.
Hmm.
But we also have people that join that are not
Right. Right.
BIPOC. So I was curious as to like, was there ever a moment, and I'm guessing the answer is no, where you were like, this, do we need to
No.
broaden you
No.
know what I can't even get the words out. It's
No.
not even it's not even coming out right. Okay.
No. There was never. Some spaces are sacred spaces for a reason, and I think that people just need to respect that and honor that, and they do, and they have, and that's what's been beautiful about
Have you
it.
got a flash about it? Like, why is there not a white girls poll?
Oh God, yes, I have. In the beginning, and I used to have time to be like,
I know
there's
that's
not a
right.
white girls poll, because white girls poll actually is all around us. Go to white girls, anything is around us. White girls yoga, white girls Pilates, white girls doing running, white girls doing blah blah blah. If you go into any yoga studio, Pilates studio, pole dancing studio, any of these small boutiques, what is the majority of people that you see in there? White women. You
Right.
already have the space.
Right.
Let me be, and like
Let me
give
carve
me
out
this
this
space.
space.
Let me
Yeah,
carve
yeah,
out this
yeah.
space. And then also I was like, and you can't buy White Girls Poll because I bought the domain. So
Mic to the side. So just in case you thought, you're gonna have to do whitegirlspoll2.com.
right. I bought
Like
whitegirlspoll.com.
username and aim. White Girls Poll 2 at
Right, exactly.
AOL.com. Because I was Peaches for Life too. Somebody took Peaches for Life and I had to spell with a Y. Y'all disrespectful out here.
Gotta do what gotta do.
All right, here we go. Rapid fire questions.
Oh,
What's dead and gone? What's now? And what's next?
what is dead and gone?
People,
Is this
places,
supposed to be
things, thoughts,
oh god.
ways of being, habits. What no
What's
longer
dead and
serves
gone?
you?
You know what's dead and gone is me thinking that I'm, like, not enough. Just
Come on.
it's like thinking that you're not enough, thinking that you're yeah, just not enough. And standing in that has really been my thing of like I'm standing in who I am, and if y'all don't like it, oh well, I'll find someone else that will. So that's kind
And
of
it
dead
was
and
not like
gone.
that when we danced. It was like, I need
No.
to be enough. I need to, I need to do all
Chasing
this
that
for this moment.
validation. We were chasing validation. And from who?
From people also chasing validation.
From other people chasing
So
validation. And I don't even know if those people have found the validation yet.
we're in cycles. You ain't never
Yes,
lied. We're in
Lord.
cycles.
What's next?
No, what's now?
Ah,
What's happening
what's
right
now?
now?
What's happening right now, funnily enough, is there's a season to everything. And in this season, I am actually preparing to step down as the owner of Black Girls Poll, and I am
Y'all, we
selling the
just got the
business.
exclusive. We just got the exclusive. Y'all,
Yes,
we
you
just got
did.
the
You did.
exclusive.
Yes, and I'm selling the business. Yeah,
She's
it's
she
been
made
10 years.
she made and sold a whole business, y'all.
It's crazy. It's
That
been
means
10 years.
the structure is airtight. 'Cause,
Yeah,
you can't sell
and
a business if they can't just pick it up and make things
this is
happen.
true.
What is that like for you? Letting your baby off to college pretty much? Like, what's the
Yeah, it's been I knew for 2 years that I wanted to do it. Um and I just needed to make sure it was packaged properly, make sure that it's scalable, make sure that anybody can run it. And I finally got to that space of anybody can run it. And will they run it the same as me? I hope not, because I think there comes a time that 10 years, the person I was at 30 when I
Mhm.
started Black Girls Poll is 1,000,000% not the person that I am today, standing here at 40 with a whole husband and whole 2 kids, right?
Right.
So I think that uh just the evolution of my growth has been what's making me be like, okay, you have given every ounce of energy from every cell of your being into this business. No one to step away, no one to walk away, no one to give it to somebody else who can pour who can take off where you left off and pour or take off where you left off and just
Mhm.
pour so much more into it. I think I have done everything that I can for this business, and I know that that's when it's, like, time for me to step back, and just my my passions are changing, you know?
Yeah.
10 years ago, I could go in the studio and work out and just be pole dancing all day long and not have other things to think about, but now, life
Life is different.
life looks different now. So, yeah, that is
Wow. Hold on. The pause for a second. That's major. Look,
yeah,
didn't I just tell you from the top, trailblazer, leading, like, because sometimes people forget, like, it's a job, right? You love what you do. You love inspiring people, getting inspired, but it's also work. And
it's
you're
work.
not as passionate about that work as someone else could be. And that mission is still so important to you.
Yeah.
You have to let it fly.
Yeah. Yes, 1,000,000%. So, yeah, I am coming to terms. I think I've come to terms. I
Yeah.
think I'm just like, "Okay, I'm ready for the sale."
Right.
So that will be happening and hopefully be wrapping everything up, by, like, May. I keep saying May. I just keep putting it out there, and I'm like, "Yeah,
Absolutely. May
it's gonna
1st.
be
Let's
it's gonna
get it
be
right at the
done.
top.
Let's get it done."
Okay.
So yeah, and then what's next?
Yeah.
So what's next? And I haven't said this. I'm like, when does this episode air? Because I'm like, wait, let me make sure all my
You're gonna have at least like a month. It's not gonna be right
okay,
now. You got time.
okay. Is that I am in the process of founding a nonprofit called the Postpartum Project, and its main focus is on self care and preservation and connection for Black mothers after birth. And I think it it stemmed from my postpartum experiences of me, having postpartum depression and having all of the resources that I did, but still having this like self doubt and still having this like sadness about me. And I was just like, I want to make sure that other mothers have the tools and resources that they need so that if they do discover they have postpartum depression or pelvic floor or issues like that or lactation coaches and stuff like that, that they can have it. So the postpartum project is serving Black mothers for doing lactation coaches, doulas, pelvic floor therapy, because I think a lot of people forget how important it is to rebuild your pelvic floor after you've had a baby and carried a whole human sitting on your
Mhm.
pelvic floor for 9 months. And then doing like
Twice.
a right. And then belly binding, which is like the Binkung belly binding that they come to your house and they give you like a mommy massage and do all of that. So yeah, that is what is next. So I'm launching a nonprofit, totally different, um, from Black Girls
But
Pole.
it's all coming from a place of need. You
Yeah,
see the need and you go for like
yeah,
that's the epitome of trailblazers. Like you see a need, you're not waiting. You're like, I'll take my time, I'll get it properly. But
yeah. And it's crazy because you know how like you're so deep in something with this is me with Black Girls Pole. I remember one day being like, I don't know what I ever would do if I got tired of this. I don't see myself getting tired of this. But the day that I get tired of this, God, please plant it into my spirit, my next move,
yeah,
And I would have never 3, 4, 5 years ago would have thought my next move would
yeah,
be
nonprofit on
this
postpartum.
a nonprofit for postpartum moms.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even there's nothing left to say. She was like, what's gone? What's gone? What's next? What's new? And then just dropped. Mic drop, mic drop, mic drop, exclusive.
Yeah.
Well, I just have to say thank you on so
Thank
many
you.
levels. I didn't even share this with you before we got on here, but like you have inspired me over the years. And this is actually my first time on camera for this podcast with my natural hair
Yes.
because I'm growing locks.
Come
So
on, Lux.
I
I see it. I see it. I
got
see
the
it.
treatment
Yes.
twist going, and I literally thought of you. I had the same moment. I was like, "What am I really doing with this hair? It's becoming. It's like an idea. It's a dangling carrot. If I just get this long hair, what am I going to do with that long hair? I'm gonna probably put it up in a bun. I'm probably gonna
Put
put
in
it
a
up in
bun.
two. And I just woke up. I was like, I think it's time to get locks. I've always admired women with locks. When I dancers with locks, the freedom. And I was like, some people cut their hair for the release. I've had a lot of hair trauma. You already know. We've gone from here to here. It's been wild. But I think I'm going to bind it up. And that's where it will lie and watch my hair do the thing it's always been meant to do
I
in a way
love
I never
it.
imagined. So I just have to say thank
I love
you.
it. I love it.
Watching
I'm here
you,
for it.
hubby, watching you with your babies. Like, I know we don't talk as often, but it's like literally pick up where we left off.
It
It's
is. It is.
always love. And for you to say yes to this, knowing everything you got going on, y'all heard everything. I'm just like, and I was on her podcast, y'all, in
That's crazy.
2019. So full circle. Where
Yes.
can people find you? How can they support
Oh man.
you? All the things.
Yes. My personal page, Dalijah Amelia. So DALIJAHAMELIA. That's my personal, that's my TikTok, that's my website. Um, yeah, and so crazy because when you reached out and was like podcast, I was like, oh my God, I'm starting a podcast called The Unperfect Moms. And it's really just about motherhood and how wild and crazy and not perfect it is. So that'll be dropping probably like by the time this episode
I
airs.
don't wanna say I'm that girl, but y'all not getting this much exclusives anywhere else, and
You really are not, because everything has just been under like
I will be tuning in.
Yes, please,
Absolutely.
because it's
I
gonna be
need to.
funny. It's gonna be a funny one. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. And then also, of course, just Black Girls Poll. Still support it. It won't be me, but still support it. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Oh, well, thank y'all. If y'all are not already, like, comment, share, subscribe with whatever platform you're listening or watching. We're going to plug it one more time. I'm always here for the tea mugs or our motivation in a mug for my coffee drinkers out there. I'm a tea girl and Britt is a coffee girl. So we each
Okay.
have our own little special mug. Go ahead and get yours at femmefitchicks.com and we'll see y'all soon.
Yes. Talk to
Peace.
you guys later. See you.